Beauty is an ordinary and everyday kind of thing. It lies all around us. And that's why it's so great to be back in Budapest, because that is absolutely true right here. So, flattery over. I will move on. Shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. Apologies. Right. So we're going to look at Scruton and Hazony. I'm going to try and take you through their concepts of the nation in brief. So, Scruton and both Hazony posit that the nation-state there's a decision to make. There is a decision to make, and Scruton writes here, I'm not alone in believing the greatest political decisions are now confronting us are the nation and its future. And Hazony also goes along the line of that this principle, you either believe in the principle of the nation state or you don't. And you have got the this conflict, which I'm going to go on to. Hazony draws very much from the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament in his thinking. Types of nationalism that Scruton tries to set. He rarely uses the word nationalism with an ism on the end. It's very rare. He normally uses the term nationality or nation state. He does in How to Be a Conservative have a chapter called The Truth in Nationalism, but in that chapter he only actually uses the word once, nationalism. So he is reluctant to use the ism. Why? Well, he argues that nationalism has been or can be perverted. It can be dangerous. Why can it be dangerous? Just like any ideology can be dangerous. He's thinking of there, of course, fascism and Marxism, these ideologies that can be dangerous in this sense. But he actually doesn't want to endorse that in Nazi Germany, revolutionary France, where the nation is put above the individual and not made up of individuals. That's a key difference with Scruton. The nation is made up of individuals. It's not sits above the individuals. He argues here that this is not, he says, the ordinary day-to-day life of European people is viewed in historical identity and continuing allegiances and of the body politic. It's in the everyday interaction of people is where the nation grows. It's not an ideology. It's the idea of neighbourliness. That's what he calls the term neighbourliness. Both Hazony and Scruton both refer to the golden rule, which is love thy neighbour as thyself. And Scruton puts this at the very heart of his idea of the nation. In other words, it is the idea that you are connected to others through living with people, sharing the same language, normally historical ties. Hazony also makes the case that it's also dangerous, or at least a perversion at which nationalism is tried to be accused of, and he says, simplistic narrative this is, between that has caused 2 world wars and the Holocaust. Of course, he rejects this. So there is some people who wanted to differentiate between patriotism and nation state, try to divorce the two. You can be a patriot but don't believe in the nation state. Well, of course, the love of country, and then you've got what is country? What is the country? But they both argue, Scruton argues that this cannot be a religious tie. It's not a religious tie. Religious ties are, to use this term, a dead hand. They They don't have movement. It can't be kin either. In other words, essentially a family. So this is where he comes in of the neighbourliness concept, which I've already told you about. Hazony also has these types of orders too in his work: tribes, clans. You can have imperial